Watching my homies, DJ80 here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Numark Mixstream Pro. So this will be an impartial review. I'm not a DJ seller outlet, or I don't work for Numark or anything like that, so it's a completely impartial review. But I am going to give a quick shout out to the shop Why Buy New, or getinthemix.com. I bought it from them on the Monday afternoon online, and it was delivered on Tuesday afternoon. So like next day. And not only that, they had a discount code of 10% off, which I used. So I actually picked the unit up for $449. Bargain. Okay, let's have a look and see what we got in the box. So here's our box. I'm gonna just open that up. All opened, and I've spread everything out. So the first thing, we get the actual unit itself. And there's plastic covers on the turntables. You get a 3-pin UK 3-pin power lead that plugs into this power converter here, and then that plugs into the back of the unit. You also get this quick sheet to stream music, so you can just use the scan codes. And there's also a quick start guide here as well. You get some stickers. You get a little cleaning cloth. You get a cable which plugs into the back of the unit, and then a USB which goes into your laptop if you wish to use a laptop. You get a quick start guide, and you just get the safety instructions as well. So that's all of it that comes in the box. Now, I don't plan to go through the function of every single button on this unit. So a lot of it, if you've already been DJing, you'll know what they do. And if you're new to DJing but looking at buying this as your first controller, it's something that you're going to have to play with and learn anyway. But there are just a couple of things that I will mention as I have it here. So on the front, you do have two headphone jacks, 1/4 inch and a 3.5mm. And microphone jack is just the 1/4 inch one, and it has its separate volume control there. It also has LEDs, an LED meter, so you can monitor your output volume. And these little buttons here are Q buttons. So on my Prime unit, that's called a Q button. And what that means is if you're playing, say, this channel here, and you load a track onto this side, if you press that button and you press play, you can hear that track and preview it through your headphones. Which is kind of handy and useful to have. In the center, we have some pre-made effects, and these are your controllers for using them. So they have two functions. So if I had delay on, for instance, I will do a live demo. I can hold that down, and that effects will last for as long as I'm holding it down. But as soon as I lift my finger off, it bounces back up, and then the effect stops. If you want to apply an effect for a long-term part of the song, what you can do is flick it forward, and listen to this. You know, a little click there. So that's clicked into place, so that effect will run until I flick it off again. You've got your touch screen. Something else worth mentioning, you've got your Q mix there and your volume for your headphones. So you can turn up the volume if you're playing live and you're trying to cue something. You can turn up the volume for your headphones. We've got high and low pass filter here, which is another effect. If you're new to DJing, it's an effect. It makes it sort of go really low, removes all the bass, or really high, and removes all the high signal. With the tempo faders, now this is something I think a lot of people picked up on when they saw the video for it. It was just how small these are, and they're not actually mega tiny. I know they look small when you look at them from a distance, but they're not too small. And they also have a slight indent at center as well, so when you're moving it, when you bring it to the middle, it sits. There's just a little indent in the fader, so it sits in the middle, so you can't over push it. You need a bit more push. It's got more resistance when it's in the middle, and then you can move it. You can actually hear it click. Hear that click? That's so when you hit the middle, it sits. And obviously it's the same on that side as well. I think that was the main things from the front here. This is a multi-function button, so it says lighting, but it's actually, when you press that with the shift button, it's also to eject your media. And then just quickly at the back, so you have XLR outputs, a balanced RCA. You have a slot here for your SD card, and you can put 2 USBs in. This port here is to connect the wire to your laptop, and then your power lead goes in here, and you've got your on-off button. This little bit here, I wasn't sure what it was, but it'll actually unscrew, and it's a little clip. Zoom in there, and you thread your power lead through that little clip, and it's to stop the power lead from accidentally coming out. Haven't seen one of those before, but it's there if you want to use it. I probably won't use it because I unplug it, but if you were putting this in a flight case and having it pre-wired, that little clip there would be perfect. And it does just say make sure it's vented, and that's the vent there. It's got indents on each side, so it's nice and easy to pick up. And underneath you get 6 rubber pads on each end and in the middle. Obviously that's to let the air flow through there as well. So it doesn't feel lightweight and flimsy. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels like it's nicely weighted, and it's actually a quality looking controller, I think, considering everything that it's supposed to do, which we'll find out soon. This feels like a nice solid controller. I think you could quite happily turn up to professional gigs with this, weddings, any kind of party, and yeah, it's going to do what you need it to do. That's what I'm thinking. But I've yet to have a play with these. I think that was the biggest issue. I know a lot of people were like, why do we need these little speakers in it? And I think that was more for the people who are getting into DJing and buying their first controller. And I totally get why they might want these little speakers, because they might want to be practicing at home with it first before gigging it. But the speakers have their own volume control, so if you are using it for a gig, you can turn the speakers off. And, you know, it's like you haven't got them at all, so it doesn't make any difference. So what I'm going to do now is just compare it in size and put it on my booth so you can see the difference. And then we'll move on to actually starting it up and test driving it. Here it is against my Denon Prime 4. So just bear in mind that the P4 unit is big. I mean, I think it's probably one of the biggest standalone units you can get. And it's fairly heavy too. So obviously it's 4-channel and it's got a lot more going on. But this is the Mixstream in comparison, and I've just put a remote control there to try and give you an idea of size. So it's not small by any chance, and I think it's probably, I haven't owned a mix track for a long time, but it's probably somewhere around that range. But it's a bit heavier, and it just feels a bit sturdier as well. It feels, you know, it feels like a decent unit. But that's to give you a comparison, one against the other. And now I'll show you what it looks like on a booth as well. The booth I use is the Gorilla DBS Lite booth, but it's also branded under Ibiza and Equinox as well. But I think it's just the same booth with a different label on it. Somebody's got the Gorilla sticker on it. I use this because it's incredibly quick to set up, and I have done a review of it as well. It's on my channel. I've adapted it and put these arms on so I can have an overhead bar on it, but it doesn't come with that. If we have a look at my P4, you'll see that it just about fits on there, and with the power lead at the back, you can see that's in, and then it bends right around to the front. And then when you have XLRs in the back here as well, and also the mic jack inputs at the back here too. So when that's in, it kind of, there's no wiggle room. I've got some space at the sides for a mic, pen, pad, but it is a snug fit. If they made one that was just slightly bigger on both angles, that'd be perfect. But I've used this, I've been using it for 2 years with the P4, and no issues. So that's what the P4 looks like on my booth. And here we have the Mixstream Pro set up on the booth. And what I've done is I've just plugged everything in as if I would do ordinarily at a gig. So I've got my mic jack there. I've got my headphones to go out to here. The power lead for this comes down, and it's, let me just move that out of the way. It's got some play on it, so you know, I have my extension lead underneath the booth, so I've got more than enough play there. All those other cables are XLRs that I've just put in. So I'll just show you what we've got at the back. So I've got the power lead coming in here. I've used one USB slot for this portable hard drive. So this is a 1 terabyte hard drive, and my other USB slot is for my Samsung bar. So what I do is I update my music and playlist regularly, and it's transferred onto the Samsung bar, and I have 2 more of these in my bag as backup. The big hard drive is for when I do gigs like weddings and stuff, and I get requests for music that I wouldn't ordinarily play, and so it's for all those odd songs that you wouldn't normally play out. So for weddings and 50th, 70ths and stuff like that, that's what I have, and I have a backup one of those. On this side, I've plugged in the RCA outputs, and I've just linked them to my little speakers here. And this is how it looks with the XLR outputs. So I've still got plenty of room there. I mean, I can bring them right in. And then, so that's how it sits on my particular booth. So obviously I've got lots more room either side, but it's absolutely fine there. It looks like a professional piece of kit. So my next step now is to spark it up and see if it plays music. So I'm just going to unplug the XLR cables and the mic, because I don't need that at the moment. For integrity, I am going to power it on with you guys on live on this video. So I haven't powered it on yet. I've plugged it in, and this is the very first time. So whatever I see on this screen now is what you're going to see for the first time too. So let's switch it on. Ooh, lots of red. I'm used to seeing green. Right, it comes with Engine DJ 2.0. Now I know at the time of doing this video, I think they're on 2.02. On my Prime, I use 1.4. So, okay, upgrade drive Samsung. Okay, right. So the first problem I've got is it's immediately spotted the fact that my engine software on my USB sticks is not up to date. So I'm going to eject drive. I'm going to eject that drive too. Okay, so we've got some demo tracks I can use. All right, so this looks fairly familiar. I'm not going to do a video on the Engine Prime software, because that in itself can take quite a long time, and there's lots of other videos out on that. But let's just spark this up. Let's see, deck 2 and deck 1. Oh, I didn't plug in. Give me 1 sec. Where's my lead for that? There we go. Let's just plug in my speakers. We'll have some volume. All right. So press play then. And, oh, okay, it's because I've got the main volume down. And I've got this volume down. Ooh, okay. Let's turn that down. Get that to the middle. got some cue points set already. Let's try them. So the white line is where it's playing from. Alright, that's one cue point. Just turn that down a fraction. Another cue point. Alright, and let's see what this one's like. Press play. And this comes with some cue points too. Nice. Let's try the effects. We've got echo. Okay, flanger. Let's just turn that up a little bit, shall we? And delay.
You elevate me, you elevate me, you elevate me. Keep on lifting me higher, higher. You elevate me, you elevate me, you elevate me. Keep on lifting me higher.
That's pretty good. And finally the filter. Kill it completely. Alright, I think that's a fairly good start. Right, let's try out its built-in speakers. So I'm going to switch mine off. And let's try. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I like the bassy bit. You know what? That's not bad. I don't know if you can hear that through the phone, but it's a decent sounding little bass. It's not farting. It's not a farty bass. Let's go right up.
You keep on lifting, listen. You keep on lifting. You elevate me, you elevate me, you elevate me. Keep on lifting me higher, higher. You elevate me, you elevate me, you elevate me. Keep on.
That's actually quite loud.
Higher.
Right, if you're using this at home to just practice and jam with, they are perfect speakers. Absolutely perfect. Right, let's try the fader. So that's my speed. And then I believe if we press shift and pitch bend, we can change that to, so you see it's gone 10%. If I press it again, 20%. If I press it again, 50%. So that means when I use my fader now, running out of tune. And if I go up, oh, you've got plenty of range there. And that's just like the P4 unit as well. So when you use the plus and minus button, you can adjust that tempo. Okay. I just wanted to check the scratch feature on this as well. So as with the Prime 4, this touchscreen is amazing. So you can just tap it and set the cursor wherever you want. See the white line? That's where it plays from. You can't do it if it's playing though. So if the track's playing,
You elevate me, you elevate me, you elevate
okay, you've got to stop the track to do that.
lifting me,
So
lifting me
here's the scratch function. So this works like the slicer function on the Prime 4. So if I just show you here. So what we'll do is when it's in smart scratch mode, it will scratch and you'll hear the scratching, but you'll hear see on the other side the track still moving, and then when you finish scratching, it will join where that track is. So I'll show you. There we go. And then when you turn scratch off, smart scratch, you just have just a normal scratch. Additionally, you can change, I've got used to vertical waveforms, but for those of you that like horizontal, if you press the shift and the view button, we can change that. Give me one sec. There we go. If you press the view button again, it takes you back to your main menu. So all of that you'll have to do your own research on. It takes a bit of time to go through. Yep, that's exactly the same menu as the engine, as the P4. Yeah, same software, obviously. Well, I think that's a fair demo. Over time, no doubt people will be asking me questions on this video. So I would just say, have a look in the comment section to see if your question's been answered already. And yeah, I think I'm going to have a little play with it. I've got a now faff with the Engine Prime software and update all of my hard drives so it's on the new software. And I'll jump to the conclusion. So that's the Numark Mixstream Pro. I'm going to have a few hours fun with that, getting to know it. It seems like a really good piece of kit. I'm quite pleased with it. I've bought it mainly because I do a lot of schools and kids stuff, and I don't really like taking out the Prime for those gigs. It's overkill, to be honest with you. And obviously, the more I take it out, every time I take it out, it's a risk. So I'm kind of precious with it. So for the price, this was absolutely perfect. Ignore anybody that says it's not a professional piece of kit, or you know, it's for bedroom DJs. It absolutely is not. If you base being a DJ on your kit alone, then my next door neighbour, who knows nothing about DJing, who's never done it, could just spend £20,000 on DJ kit and then boom, he's a DJ. Well, logically, obviously, that doesn't make any sense. So whilst kit does play a role in what you do, it doesn't define you as a DJ. So if you like the look of this unit and it's within your price range, and you want to start gigging laptop free, then I'd recommend this. If I come up with any problems over the course of the next week or two whilst playing with it, I'll add it in the comments and pin them to the top. But for now, really pleased with this. Of got a faff with my engine library, which I'm not too happy about, but them's the breaks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Best of luck if you do decide to buy one, and thanks for watching. Feel free to give it a like or subscribe if you want to. See ya.